All right, let's talk about the data gold mine your nonprofit is probably sitting on. We're going to give you a super clear step-by-step checklist to integrate your CRM and really turn all that scattered information into one of your most powerful tools for making a real impact.
So let's just start with a question that, gets right to the heart of it. Do you feel like you spend more time wrestling with a dozen different spreadsheets than actually connecting with your donors and volunteers? If you're not in your head right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But the good news is there is a much, much smarter way to do this.
And this is the core challenge right here. When your data is trapped in all these different silos, you've got donor info in one place, your email list somewhere else, and financial records in a totally different system, it's not just a little inefficient. It means you are absolutely missing out on huge opportunities and probably making decisions without seeing the full picture. Our goal is to connect all those dots and create one single source of truth.
Okay, let's get into it. Step 1 is all about strategic prep. And I really can't stress this enough. Getting this part right is probably the single most important thing you can do to avoid massive headaches later on. This is the foundation you build everything else on. So this whole preparation phase really breaks down into 3 key parts. First, you've got to know what you're working with. Like, where does all your data actually live? Once you have that map, then you can figure out your destination. What does success actually look like for you and your team? And finally, you have to check your tools. Can all these different systems actually talk to each other without causing a total mess? So what's a data inventory? Well, think of it like you're an explorer, creating a complete map of your entire data universe. You're hunting down every single place that stakeholder information is stored, from your main donor database in QuickBooks all the way to MailChimp and your event tools. The key here is to document everything and figure out who owns what. And once you have that inventory, now you can set some real measurable goals. This is the exact moment your project stops being just an IT thing and becomes a strategic move. So instead of a vague goal like, we need a new CRM, you can aim for something powerful like, let's cut our manual data entry time in half, or let's generate board-ready reports with a single click. See the difference?
All right, so you know what you've got and you know where you're going. Now for step 2, getting that data ready for its brand new home. This is the data cleaning phase, and let me tell you, it is absolutely non-negotiable. Because if you put messy, chaotic data into a shiny new system, well, you just end up with a faster, more expensive mess.
And here is a perfect example of why this is so important. I mean, it seems like a small thing, right? Stat versus street, or ABC FDN instead of ABC Foundation. But your database, it sees those as 2 completely different entities. This is exactly how you end up with duplicate records, sending multiple mailings to the same person, and just having a totally chaotic system. The goal is to standardize everything.
So your cleaning process should really follow a checklist. You're going to merge all those duplicates, standardize your date formats, clean up addresses, decide on consistent naming conventions, but I really want you to pay close attention to that last point on the list. Because messing that one up, well, it can have some really disastrous consequences.
And that brings us to this critical warning. Please, don't just back up your data, test your backups. Before you change a single thing, try restoring a small piece of it from your backup file. Make sure it's actually usable. Trust me on this one. Finding out your safety net has a giant hole in it after you've already started making changes is an absolute nightmare scenario you do not want to be in.
Okay, your data is squeaky clean, your backups are tested and secure, and your goals are crystal clear. Now it is time for the main event, connecting your systems and actually running the integration.
A huge part of this is something called field mapping. Now, don't let the technical terms scare you. It's actually super simple. You're basically just telling the data where to go. It's like telling movers which box goes into which room in your new house. You're just connecting the first name field from your old spreadsheet to the first name field in your new CRM. That's it. And this brings us to a golden rule. Never, ever just flip the switch and hope for the best. You have to test first. Grab a small but really representative sample of your data, 100 or 200 records, with a mix of different people. Then run a test migration with just that sample. This is your chance to find all the little gremlins in the system, like weird formatting issues or broken automated emails, before they can wreak havoc on your entire database.
Now, it is so tempting to think that once you go live, you can dust off your hands and the work is done. But the most successful nonprofits know that launch day, that's just the beginning. Step 4 is all about treating your data strategy like a living, breathing part of your organization that you're constantly improving.
Yeah, the best way to think about this is as a continuous cycle, not a one-and-done project. After you launch, you should be running quarterly audits to keep that data clean, reviewing your whole strategy every 6 months to make sure you're actually hitting your goals, and planning for system updates every year. It's an ongoing process.
Look, a great system is totally useless if your team doesn't actually use it. To make all this hard work stick, you have to build a data-driven culture. And that starts with practical training, using real-world situations. It means you need to appoint some internal champions who can help their coworkers. And it means you got to track your progress with clear KPIs so everyone on the team can see the incredible value of their hard work.
One of the biggest shifts that we're seeing in this space is that these powerful tools are becoming so much more accessible. You don't need a massive upfront investment anymore. Just to give you a real example, some platforms are offering these super flexible pricing models that are designed specifically for nonprofits, which lets you start small and then scale up as you grow.
And models like this, pay-as-you-go, they completely change the game. When you only pay when the system is actively working for you, that huge financial barrier that used to keep these powerful CRM tools out of reach for so many smaller nonprofits, well, it's finally starting to come down.
And really, when it comes down to it, that's what this whole process is all about. Your data holds the story of your impact, the story of your relationships, and the story of your community. A successful CRM integration doesn't just organize that data. It gives you the power to finally read, understand, and share that story to drive your mission forward.